Meet Brazil, the largest country in South America. Brazil loves soccer, carnivals, coffee, and tourists. Brazil is very hospitable, always happy to welcome new faces. We'll gladly hold a conversation, except that she will talk in Portuguese. While all her neighbors on the mainland communicate with each other in Spanish, Brazil stands aside and looks nostalgically across the ocean where Portugal lives. Her only friend who speaks the same language. How is it possible that an entire continent and all the countries on it speak Spanish and Brazil speaks Portuguese? To solve this mystery, it is necessary to look into the distant past, back when Brazil was not born yet, and its friend Portugal was just beginning its career in colonization. (1494). Spain and Portugal at the time were young and reckless, blood boiling and energy pouring over the edge. One day they made a bet. The essence was whoever discovers more unknown territories and assigns these lands to themselves will become the king of the world. But unfortunately, it turned from a simple game into something more. Eventually, after a long race, they looked at each other as sworn enemies. The heat had reached such a peak that third-party intervention was essential. Fortunately, Italy, at the suggestion of the Pope, committed itself to reuniting the old friends. Italy invited Spain and Portugal for a cup of tea, during which they asked about the current state of affairs and cause of the conflict.
I just can't understand. Why don't you two live together? You two are the most powerful countries in the world. What do you need?
I miss the lands that belong to me, because I noticed them first. Not true. I noticed them a moment earlier, so they are mine.
What lands are we talking about?
Portugal showed on the map a new continent, which was not so long ago discovered.
This continent must become my heritage, only when I choose the best lands for myself.
What if I were to propose that you divide up these lands?
How?
I, Italy, as an independent from both the parties, can objectively assess the situation, and with your approval, I will propose the option of dividing these lands.
And how will you divide them? They haven't been explored yet. We have only seen shores.
Science will help us. How about dividing these lands by a line? From the South Pole to the North Pole. What's on the right of that line would belong to Portugal, and what's on the left of that line would belong to Spain. How does that sound?
Portugal and Spain looked at each other and nodded silently.
That's good. I'll take care of all the calculations and the measurements. We'll meet again in 3 days.
Unfortunately, Portugal did not know that Spain and Italy were very close friends. As a consequence, the division of the new lands was not the fairest. After 3 days, Spain, Portugal, and Italy met again to sign an agreement to divide the territories.
Here, please put your signatures.
Italy pointed to the treaty line. Portugal signed the agreement without looking. After signing the agreement, Italy invited its companions to the map, where it showed the line of division of territories.
Everything highlighted in red belongs to Portugal. Everything else belongs to Spain. It seems fair. Everyone signs the agreement. And I have to run. See you on Saturday, Spain.
Italy shouted, leaving the place of the meeting in a hurry.
Oh, it's late. I think it's time for me to run. Thank you for your cooperation, Portugal. See you again.
Spain happily left her vis-a-vis. Portugal stood silently at the table with the map. She simply could not believe what had happened. She had been deceived, betrayed, and left with a small piece of land.
All right.
Portugal pronounced.
Let them take everything else. I will raise this territory in my own way. It will become big, even bigger than me. Beautiful and strong. I will teach her to play soccer, to dance, and to drink tea. I will teach her to speak my language. Only she and I will understand each other. And one day, when she grows up and surpasses me, I will let her go free.
Although coffee appealed to Brazil more than tea, all the other predictions of Portugal came true. Brazil has become one of the best countries on its continent. Kind, beautiful, and strong. She grew up on the stories of Portugal and mastered its language to perfection. And today, when someone comes to visit Brazil and starts speaking in Spanish, the hostess smiles and replies,
Não entendo falar português.